What's going on? It's Raul.
Yo, this is me, John, from Contested Layups.
Yo, we're the Kenton 405.
405 in the high hizzy.
405, baby. Kenton 405 bringing you another Contested Layup sponsored video. Today we're going to be talking about Kyrie Irving. Definitely the subject of drama always. Seems like either drama follows him around or he creates the drama, or who knows?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe it's all us. Maybe it's all in our head. Maybe it's in everybody else's head. But we're gonna talk about Kyrie a little bit. Obviously, he's a special player. Got a championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron. And ever since he's left Cleveland, this is his second team in 2 years.
Yeah.
And there's just all sorts of stuff going on with this guy. So the Nets now, since the regular season, when Kyrie was still playing, they were 4-7.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since Kyrie has left, which has been about 5 games now, they are 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1. Yes, they are.
Bringing the Nets record to an even 500 at 8-8.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, John? Obviously 4-1. Are the Nets better off without Kyrie or what?
I wouldn't say they're better off, but they do have more team chemistry for sure. I think since Kyrie is a new piece and it's a significant piece, that does take time for them to gel. But when you're hearing reports that Kyrie is not making any friends or is being an emotional person, how can you build that chemistry?
Yeah.
So time will tell, but it's not looking good for Kyrie.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Brooklyn Nets are they're kind of a gritty squad. I wouldn't say like they're the grittiest or anything,
No.
but they got some toughness to them. And what I immediately think of, especially now that this stuff is happening with the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
Remember back in Cleveland when LeBron and Kyrie were apparently not getting along?
Right.
And that was causing some friction. And I think for the most part, when it was happening, we all just assumed it was LeBron being a diva.
Yeah, right.
That he was the one being a diva, and that, what's going on? How could you not get along with Kyrie? Kyrie seems like such a nice guy. Yeah. But in reality, maybe LeBron was the one who was kind of reeling him in a little bit.
Yeah.
He was the one keeping him under control. And now that you don't have LeBron to establish that dominance and say that, hey, like, we're not doing this. Like, we're not doing this. I'm not playing that. I'm not playing that shit here.
Right.
We're out to win championships, And now that he doesn't have a guy like LeBron there, now it just seems like the true Kyrie is coming out.
Yeah, maybe the Kyrie that's Kyrie under pressure for sure.
Yeah.
And I think LeBron made a fool of all of us when, especially when Kyrie called him and said like, "Yo, I need help leading this team."
Mm-hmm.
Basically conceding that he was, over his head a little bit.
Yeah.
Couldn't handle the weight of the crown, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And
how do you think Kyrie should go about leading this Nets team?
Lead by example. I mean, get to the place where you got, I mean, how do I say this? Lead by example. I think that's the best way to say it. Lead by example. Use the skills that you have on court to lead the team and to motivate everybody to play better around you, so you guys can be a cohesive team and eventually win a championship. And then when KD comes around, it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
But now you're having this issue where he's not making any friends, and it feels like that people should cater to him and not the other way around. Well, You know, that's leading to problems now. What will happen when KD comes back a year later
Yeah.
and says, "No, I'm the big dog here."
Yeah, and I think one thing that nobody is really anticipating or hasn't anticipated yet, I think everybody is saying, oh, when KD comes back, this is going to be a whole different thing. This isn't even going to be a problem anymore. They're going to be a whole different squad.
Mhm.
But KD isn't the easiest guy to get along with
Right,
either.
exactly.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that they could be in danger of not being able to make it work on the
Yeah,
Nets team with KD. KD's, I think over the years, KD has kind of exposed himself a little bit, and his personality is a lot. I guess I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it's a lot bigger. It's definitely a lot bigger than what a lot of people kind of thought it was, because KD was always looked at as like this humble guy.
right.
You know, when he was coming up, and even Derrick Rose, when Derrick Rose was coming around, was coming up too, they kind of, everybody always put them together as two really humble guys that go out, do the work, and don't say anything about it.
Hmm.
And then nowadays you have KD saying, you know, I don't like OKC, like
Right,
all
right.
sorts of stuff, like all
Yeah.
sorts of
I feel
stuff.
like I also feel like, he's trying. They put a you put a when you put a camera in front of somebody's face,
Hmm.
it just alters them.
Yeah,
You
not like
know.
us though.
Yeah, no. But anyways, I just feel like KD is trying to be somebody that he's not, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's the same way with Kyrie too. Like they're why would you guys are not like that in real life? I feel like,
Hmm.
I don't know these people in person or personally, but I mean that's not who the fans love, grew to love, and that's
Yeah.
not who like kids admire, like all that stuff. Like I don't know, it's kind of extra.
Yeah. It's really interesting to me because, uh, I mean, this might seem kind of random, but Russell Westbrook, going back to like the KD thing, obviously this is another high profile point guard that KD is going to wind up playing with.
Yeah.
And Russell Westbrook, for as much problems as they've had or seemingly had towards the end, or maybe after, I don't even think really after
No,
so
yeah, I
much,
don't think
but
so.
pretty much toward the end there, I see a lot of like reports from ex teammates of Russell Westbrook, and they all said that he was a great teammate.
Right.
That he was a great teammate, and he has like no ego, and he just really cares about winning. That's like the only thing. But then you have these reports of Kyrie of saying like, man, like I don't know about this guy,
Right.
and I'm just wondering, man, I don't know if, like, now that I think about it, I don't know if Kyrie and KD will be able to coexist. That seems like a lot. I think there's definitely gonna be a lot of growing pains
Yeah,
and
me too.
trying to figure each other out. And um, like, what do you make of the injury? What do you think of this injury?
What does he have? What is he injured with? Like
It's
it's a hand injury?
it was a shoulder impingement. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. That could mean a lot of things. That could mean like a pinched nerve,
Hmm.
where he can't necessarily depending on what you do, he can't finish with
Yeah.
that hand.
It seems like that's what it is, because Coach Atkinson said like, oh, his shoulder is really sensitive, and the shoulder itself is really sensitive, especially for a point guard. So it seems like maybe that's the case, that it's a pinched nerve, and he's just not comfortable finishing, and just isn't really the same
Yeah.
player with it.
And then I think we can still. I mean, I guess we can factor in the fact that maybe all these injuries is taking a toll on Kyrie
Hmm.
mentally too. Like, people asking him, when are you coming back? Oh, this. Like, remember his knee injury? How his screw got like all had
Yeah.
some fungus,
Yeah.
and they had to go in there. And a lot of people with an outside perspective might think that's like, it's kind of a bogus excuse.
Hmm.
But we're not medical experts,
Yeah.
so it's hard to say anything. But when you're Kyrie Irving, you won a championship, you've declared yourself a leader. That pressure comes with his status, his role on the team. So I don't know what else to say, but like, uh, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what to say of it. But that's just my 2 cents with it.
It's really a hard. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it either. Kyrie is one of those guys that once you think you have him figured out, it's like complete opposite.
Right.
It's the complete opposite. You know, when they won the championship and all those times that they were in the finals when he was with LeBron on the Cavs, he kind of said that, hey, Kyrie is ready for his own thing. He's good enough to lead a squad,
Right.
and he's a champion,
Mhm.
and he's one of these elite point guards in the league. But then you take him off the Cavs, and he really hasn't been doing that great.
No, yeah.
And and then just like the way that his career went, the whole. I always looked at him as like a nice, humble guy. Also, like one of those guys that's just like really personable, and he has that whole Uncle Drew thing,
Yeah.
and he's just like a lovable guy. But it turns out when it comes to basketball, he's not lovable. But I mean, I guess you don't have to be lovable.
No, Michael Jordan was not
Yeah,
lovable, man.
and Kobe wasn't either. But like you have to be able to work with your teammates,
Yeah.
and that seems to be the biggest problem for Kyrie is figuring out how to play with whoever is on his team,
Yeah.
whether it's a Boston Celtic team that has very talented, athletic forwards like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown
Yeah.
and some of those other guys, or you have um, a Nets team that's very rooted in fundamentals.
Right.
He just has a really hard time fitting in.
Like team first people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And definitely you can tell like Brooklyn was excited, but then when you hear reports of this, maybe they're having second thoughts like, oh man, I don't know if I want to play for this guy. Like I can see why Boston had so many problems with him too.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I would think that they would get it together by like maybe 20 games. Hopefully, It's still a very young season. 4-1. Maybe it's because they have chemistry on their own and it's already built in from last season, and it's just a carryover for this season. We'll see. This team is not developed, and we haven't seen it in its full potential.
Let's see who. Well, in their 4-1 stint, they had a really easy schedule.
Yeah.
They had Chicago, and then they had Charlotte. Sacramento they're doing good things, but this Brooklyn team should beat Sacramento right now with no De'Aaron Fox and no Bagley. And then they beat New York by 2 tonight. Coming up, they have Cleveland, so that should be a win. But then they have Boston on the 27th and the 29th. So they play them twice. So that's going to be a real test, and hopefully they can Kyrie's going to be out for those next 3 games.
Yeah.
And I would like to see Kyrie bump his assist totals up more. I think he needs to get his teammates more involved. There's a lot of just one-on-one ISO that I'm just constantly seeing with him. Whenever I turn on the Brooklyn Nets, it seems like it's just solely Kyrie ISO.
Right.
I don't even see anybody else hitting shots other than Kyrie. And I know that Kyrie is a gifted scorer, but you got to get your other teammates involved. And I also want to see them go to more pick and rolls.
Yeah.
The pick and roll worked beautifully for the Nets last year. I don't know if Kyrie can do it as well as D'Angelo Russell, but they should try it.
Yeah, I think so. I think the ball gets stuck a little in his hands too much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get what he's trying to do is to break down the defense, but you can't just do it 4-on-1 or 3-on-1 in the paint and try to and say you're going to score 50. You're not going to do that every night, and that's not how you win championships.
Yeah.
So I think he needs to spread the wealth a little bit, you know, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully with him being out, that this is more of like a blessing in disguise for the Nets team, that Spencer Dinwiddie, he was struggling a little bit for the beginning of the season. Obviously, they lost Karis LeVert too, and that's a big part of it. Yeah. But a lot of these guys were struggling with Kyrie on the team, and now that they got a chance to get more minutes and get their wind underneath them, maybe they'll be able to. Maybe things will get a little bit easier.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think if they let Kyrie play off ball a little bit more, that will help him out. I think he's really, you know, a 2 stuck in a point guard's body, you know. But if you give him, a chance to like run off screens, he can always finish. You know, doesn't necessarily have to have the ball and take it up and start a half court set.
Yeah, I would like to see him and Spencer Dinwiddie on the floor a lot together, a lot more, and defer to Spencer Dinwiddie sometimes.
Yeah,
and I think if they can do that, I think they could make it work. I think it's still fine. Kyrie is good enough, even with all the problems that he brings. He still brought the Celtics team to the second conference. To the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they breezed through the first round of the playoffs. And so they go through these little spurts of where you think that they have it together, but then they don't really.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good enough to like hide that.
Yeah, you know, it's more surprising that it's happening in Brooklyn. In Boston, you can see, because there's a lot of young players like, you know, I want my time on the Nets. But here in Brooklyn, the guys just want to win.
Yeah.
Like most of those guys, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris,
Jared Allen.
These guys are career, you know, these are like technically journeymen who went to a team that nobody cared about.
Yeah.
And now that they have, you know, a good team, a solid team to go to the playoffs, where they just need that one finisher, one closer, and they thought it's Kyrie.
Yeah.
So
I think Kyrie could still be that guy.
I think so too. I think he just needs to get over whatever's in his head, and, you know, play with the team and enjoy playing with them.
Yeah, it's going to be a process for him too. I mean, I think this is really how Kyrie is, though, underneath all the bright lights.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got his own demons that he's got to tackle, but, you know, it's basketball, and he loves basketball.
Yeah.
So try to make it work with your team. That's all we got for the Kyrie talk, man. Just a short little quick video. Kenton 405, Raul,
John.
Tune into Contested Layups. We're about to hit you with a pod probably tomorrow. And if you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, you can find our podcast on iTunes and Google Play by searching Contested Layups episodes, or Contested Layups, a basketball podcast. You could find our YouTube videos by searching Contested Layups episodes for full episodes and more. All right, y'all. Take it easy. Ken 405, we in there.
405, we out.